Call this work session of Scottsboro City Council to order. Invocation given by Mr. Mayor and the pledge led by Mr. Gary Stewart.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for the day you've given us and the ability to serve and work with others. We pray for our city employees as they go about their daily duties and others serving in the form of government. Please be with the council as they go about the business of the city. And just watch over us and may everything we do be pleasing to thee. It's in your Son's name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on tonight's work session to discuss tourism grant application for Jackson County tourism. This is for a fishing tournament sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Parsons has given us an overview. JP, do you have some other information you'd like to relate to the council?
Well, I do. Thank you, Mr. President. If I could bring an event like this every week, I would, because it is a true tourism event, and it will bring 600 anglers plus the organizers here in March of 2018. The one thing I did not include in there, in that contract, they do split out the amount that I have requested. In the next 60 days, they would like $3,000. And the second part is not necessary until after 60 days after the tournament is over with, which would be the 6,000. We feel that that split will help. And I'm thankful. One thing I do want to say, I'm thankful that we have a very visionary city council, because they see the true value of a true tourism event that brings in so many people from out of state to spend at least 7 to 10 days and spend money in Scottsboro. And that money from that $9,000 is truly a return on investment, and you will get a lot more than a 50% return based on the lodging tax. And that's another thing that is just seeing that this money will not affect the Scottsboro city budget in any way, because it comes from a fund that is specifically designated for tourism and continues to grow every month. And I'd like to say thank you to the city for the foresight to have that kind of fund to continue to bring those kind of tourism, especially sporting tourism events. And I think this is something that we would like to focus on in the future, is bringing all kinds, not just fishing tournaments and fishing sporting events, but other types of sporting events into Scottsboro, because that's where a lot of our sister cities around Alabama are seeing the benefit, the financial and economic benefit throughout the year.
Thank you, JP. Any questions or comments?
I just think that this is going to bring out a lot of people in here. I know when I got elected in 2012, Auburn had done a study on bass fishing and how it impacts the economic development, just bringing in more money. And this, I think, will be good as well. Thank you, JP, for getting it. I know our income has been good over the past few years, and this is part of the pie too. So a lot of people come here and fish, and with all these people that we stay in our hotels and spending money too. So I think it's a good event.
Anyone else? JP, you've got the actual expenditures for the event at $19,631. Is that correct?
That is correct. And that is one thing I would never ask the city to give more than what the chamber would give for any type of sporting event. Any request that I come before the city council with, would be a lot more, well, at least more than 50% of what we would ask the city to give from that tourism grant fund.
Thank you, Jeffy. Moving right along, next is discuss purchasing cooperative agreement. Chief? Yes. There you go.
Thank you. Should have this information in your packet. I'm just going to give you a little overview. But what I'm asking you to consider and look at is the authorization for us to use a national purchasing cooperative to make certain purchases. This particular HGAC cooperative has a lot of firefighting equipment that we buy from time to time, but we don't buy it very regular. I think the benefit for us is primarily that these contracts are let out on a national volume-based bid award type process. So looking at that contract again, I'm not going to get into the details, but what I've put in there is actually a copy of the contract from HGAC, a letter from the state examiner where that particular cooperative is approved for use in the state. The fee schedule, as they told me on the phone, there is a small fee, so 1.5% on equipment, and then it's a sliding scale on vehicles. In most cases, I think the volume and the contract price would more than compensate for that fee. And then the last 2 or 3 pages was just a listing, actually last 4 or 5 pages, sorry about all that, but was a listing of the users from the state of Alabama, people that are currently using this contract and this cooperative. Again, this particular cooperative, and there's several that are approved. This one has a lot of firefighting equipment, a lot of things that we use. There are other things that maybe the turf management or street department may be interested in on there too, but that's not my field, so I couldn't. But the process, as I understand it, is essentially you have to authorize the mayor to enter into this agreement. Mr. Kinnemer, I think, glanced at it briefly, so he may know a little more. And then once he enters in, this renews until one party undoes it. Is that correct?
Mr. Kinnemer.
I have glanced at it. The contract is very short and straightforward and to the point. It provides another option similar to the state bid list for the city to acquire certain equipment if the city chooses to acquire equipment that way. It is used, it's certified by the State Department of Public Accounts, the University of Alabama system, Huntsville City, Madison County, Marshall County, cities and counties all around us do it. I noticed Auburn's not on there, but that's not surprising. Provides more options.
And I would
They are over there, Mr. Kinnemer, using oversizes.
Are they in there?
Yes, since you're Alabama grad, you probably didn't realize the
Well, they
grammar there.
have them listed as University of Auburn or something like that?
City,
Auburn City,
no, city of.
the city of Auburn. I'm speaking of Auburn University.
Oh, excuse me.
I would reiterate it's an option for us just to compare pricing. And we still have the option to go back and do a competitive bid under the state law if that proves prudent. So,
I thought I was about to lose control of the meeting.
I tried to pull them back.
Look, here, man. It's a good thing here.
And is there a, Mr. Kinnemer, what is the ceiling for bid requirement? What's the limit?
15,000.
So anything less than 15,000,
You don't have to.
you don't have to do that. Is this equipment, what's the price range on this equipment that you're looking to use this agreement for?
The particular things we're looking at right now would be in the $25,000 to $30,000 range, depending on if we can find some good demo stuff. And that's our jaws of life, our extrication tools for vehicles that need to be replaced.
would this be used for equipment that's already within your budget?
Yeah, we're not just gonna go all out. But
I appreciate that, man.
well, I think.
But what's to keep us from it, I guess, would be the question of the council.
Well, I still gotta pay for it, so I gotta have the money. But no, we don't have intentions to buy, lots of wild.
Frivolous.
Right.
It's
So-
just another tool to solicit bids from.
Because we don't buy these things once ever. I mean, we haven't bought an extrication tool in probably 15 years. And so us and all these other cities combined don't buy them real regular. They don't make it on the state bid list. But nationwide, there's a lot of volume. So that's why we can get better pricing when we do run into it.
And understanding the advantage being is that it is already pre-competed. So if you need a piece of life-saving equipment that has gone down, the timeline is much
The
shorter.
timeline is short. There is I think we all a deal with the timeline of the bid process, and we know it is what it is, but sometimes that can take 3 or 4 weeks, or 5 or 6, depending on what you bid.
Any questions? We'll put it on next week, thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next is discuss fire department equipment surplus. I guess that's why you're hanging around and you go over that for us.
Yes, sir, thank you again. Sorry for the multiple pages, but just to show you what we have. The first page is just a summary of what I'm fixing to say. The second page, these would be attachments, I think, as Whitney put it to me, to the surplus resolution. What's written page 1 at the bottom are some things that we've acquired that no longer are operable or we no longer use over the past several years that we'd like to declare surplus and place on gov deals. Other than that computer equipment listed at the top, which Clint looked at and said it's worthless. So we're just going to discard it and have him discard of it. The next several pages are the breathing air apparatus that we've just replaced with our latest grant. So these are things that we need to get rid of. There's 46, I think, total units. I'm considering a unit, the harness, and 2 bottles per harness. There's 46 of those. They were purchased with a combination of FEMA grants and county tax money in 06-07 timeframe. What I would request that we do is consider offering those to our county volunteer departments and our mutual aid departments in Marshall County, which is Waterfront Spurgeon, offering it to those guys for $225 a unit. I checked pricing as far as what we could get from a reseller. It would give us an average of about that. If they were to go buy them from a third-party reseller used, they were going to pay about $700 to $1,000. So it's a win-win for both of us if they can use them, if you guys see fit. Anything that didn't sell, then we'd put on go deals.
Any questions or discussion?
Why don't we consider just giving it to them?
Well, I mean, that's entirely up to this body. I'm not necessarily against that. Obviously, we do. I mean, we could have a little money to put in the coffers and not hurt them too bad, I think, or not necessarily, but, you know.
Yeah, the reason I say that, I see them out struggling, just to get the basics. And fortunately, we're not in that position. And
No, we're very fortunate to have.
to them, someone who would give them what they needed in this line, it would mean a lot more to them than it would be anybody else we could get it to.
The only suggestion I would make respectfully is that either you as a body or allow me to put some sort of parameters on that if we offer up free stuff. It's going to get gone pretty quick, and then there's such a turn on stuff. Not that they're bad, but I mean, give them
I
something
would
to
think
make
about
it
just taking the closest towns and then working our way out to the county or whatever. I just feel, I would feel more good about it, about doing that and so. And I'm just one person, and you know how to be respectful.
How many would like say asphalt fire department, someplace like that? I mean, how many do they need?
I mean, several departments in the county have gotten grants over the past 3 or 4 years. I know Hollywood got one last year, so, you know, they may not, I don't really know each particular situation. I would venture to guess that total inventory, they would average maybe 15 of a department, but that's a blind guess.
Could we just hold off on this and let you check on that, and then come back and go after it again, just on this one? This item.
Yeah, just define what I need to check on exactly, please. How many they need, or
I would think you would need to poll and see what their need would be. The only concern that I would have, I agree that I think if we're able to help the volunteer fire departments, but I don't want there to be a need for 70 and we only have 45, you know, to give away. Then it starts becoming who's got the highest priority.
in my experience, if we're offering them for nothing, there's gonna be a need for that
That's
70
my
plus.
concern also.
Yeah.
So,
I guess
we
we
will
have to
put it,
trust them, you know, trust them to do the right thing is, we trust you to do the right thing.
we won't put it on next week, but can we poll some departments and see what the need would be?
I'll try to get a report, if not by next week, then by the next work session.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chief. Next is discuss amending downtown streetscape project costs. Mr. Mayor, you want to go over there?
Yes, last week in my comments, I mentioned that our downtown streetscape, looks like it's $81,669 over, and maybe some change. And Josh and I had some discussions. The original contract that the council approved, I think, was $1,346,270. And so we were needing to amend that amount, but didn't you say 85,000, up to 85,000 additional dollars, because there may be a small invoice straggling, but we needed to just allocate that money from our capital project to get paying the bill. Right, Mr. Whittle?
Can I ask a question? When did we know how far the budget was going to be off? How long have we known that we were going to be over budget?
Probably 4 weeks ago, but we're trying to amend some things to get back in.
Yeah. And
I guess this is my question, and I guess it's for personal curiosity more than anything else. At this juncture, we're over budget.
well,
I kind of feel like the council is put in a position that we don't have a whole lot of choices here.
I'd like to know what do we spend $82,000 on that wasn't in the original contract? Because I don't, surely a contractor is not gonna miss it that badly, is it?
it was missed in their estimates. I mentioned last
Who did
week,
the estimate?
state, in forecasting. It would, we can give y'all a printout. It was missed in cubic yards quantities. I mean, it's just a combination of things. Cubic feet, cubic yards, and quantities. You know.
Concrete?
No, sir. Phil, one of the things that, let me just get y'all a detailed copy of all this.
How are we gonna talk about it if we're waiting?
We'll wait.
I can't understand, did they come and look at it? Or did they just guess at it from Montgomery?
When the plans were designed by CDG, they did the survey around the square.
So they made the estimates basically.
With the state, yes, sir. One of the things that overrun was the concrete in place, about 200 yards over. square yards, it's about $80 a square yard, so we're
It's a lot of concrete.
16,000 right there. Another thing that ran over is when the tree was cut on the south side of the square, we moved the driveway up closer to the courthouse, pulled through, and when that tree was cut, I went back to fill in. A lot of that stuff is sunk in with roots, so we had a big area to dig out and we had to put back. We got to that point, we didn't have a choice to fix it back right. We got right there. So when we did that, we started trying to cut back on some quantities it's a unit cost project, it's not a lump sum project. There's, 200 pay items set up and it's per cost of pay item. So it's not a lump sum project. So we try to start cutting back on some of those pay items to compensate. And, we couldn't compensate enough to cover those overruns.
I guess I don't understand that. It ain't a lump sum project, but it is the fact that if we miss it on what ain't a lump sum project, we're the ones that have to pay it. And $80-something thousand is a lot to have to come up with over what we were supposed to have to come up with when we did this project. And when we made the agreement to finance it at a certain amount of money.
Well, and I mentioned last week, the Ridgedale Road project came in $113,137 under budget.
Which really didn't have a thing in the world to do with the missed calculations on square. Really.
Well, no, but we paid less on Ridgedale Road, we're paying more on the square.
I don't think that's an excuse for somebody missing that bad. Either way.
My question is
When you
just
get-
the accountability. I mean, we're the ones being held accountable for the $81,000 that's over. And where do we go from here? How can we contact someone other than speaking about it up here, learning about it all at one time? That's my question.
I think next time, we do a unit cost, because all the state projects are unit costs, they're not lump sum. Even though you get a bid at the end that looks like a lump sum number, it's really a unit cost project. It will probably be better if we put in a 5% contingency or something like that.
I mean, Clemens Road's gonna be the same way. Porter Road, Woods Cove Road was the same way.
In what respect? We're gonna be over on those two?
You were on Porter, Woods Cove, yes, sir. We don't know about Clemens Road.
Like the Ridgedale Road, it was the same way, and of course we closed it in under, because it was a unit cost, but did some things we had to do out there. And some of this, the cost was curb and gutters on a certain amount set up, some of the curb and gutters broke up, we had to replace it more. A lot of other things, inlets, these old inlets was put in place, I don't know, Eddie, when the drainage inlets put in place, 60s, 50s or something? Mid-70s, when we got to them, they wasn't in the contract to be replaced, but when we got to them, the concrete was just breaking apart, so we had to at the time. I think it was about another $15,000 to replace those.
When the water or sewer gas reset all the water meters that were in the sidewalks, they performed about $30,000 worth of service that they didn't bill the city for, but then once the meter was set, the copper line or the galvanized line that went from that meter to the property owner's building, we replaced that with copper. And we paid that. We didn't charge every individual, and that was nearly $15,000 there.
Is that in the original?
No, sir. It was something that once they busted up the concrete and reset the meters, they realized that this needed to be done.
And when you get to the bottom line, as far as I see it, we do a lot of projects in this city, a lot of projects.
Sure.
And a lot similar to these. If we don't pay closer attention, evidently, to what's going on, whomever is responsible for doing this, we could get in a situation where it could break a city. And you take 80,000 here and 40,000 there and 70,000 here. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is somebody's not doing their job. And I'm not talking about anybody sitting at this table. I'm talking about who's looking at all this stuff and telling us this is what it's going to be. And it ain't going to be. And I don't want to get into the baseball field down there. This sure ain't what it's going to be. And it's basically the same thing, though, we gotta come up with the money, we have to come up with the money. And it's not right to come up with $80,000 here and you don't really even know what all was done. You think you do.
There was a lot of uncertainty when they started busting concrete and redoing water lines.
But normally, these people who do this work overestimate it anyway for the uncertainties. And I don't really think, as much as they do it, that they're gonna miss it that bad. I don't think they should, but what do I know? That's all I know.
So, Mr. Mayor, you and Josh will give us a
Sure.
detailed, list on that. Move to delegations, there are none, we'll move to reports, Mr. Mayor,
Don't have anything.
Ms. Butler.
Great job to everyone involved with the barbecue, Scottsboro barbecue cook-off.
People's Choice Champion, Mr. Patrick Stewart.
I just want to thank everybody that participated with it as well. There was, I've been involved in it for these past 3 years as a contestant, and this year was, the thought process, it's gotten better every single year, from just the perspective of one being an entry and then, or a contestant, and the other part just, being an average citizen walking around the square. It just was a lot better put on this year than it had been in the past, and there was a lot of people, from out of town that came in, and the competition I was in was the People's Choice, and when I looked up, there was over 200 people that came through there. You came through, Tony. It was just really neat, and I didn't know a lot of people that were from out of town, and they were picking up a little 2-ounce cup, so it was good to be involved in something that brought people in from out of town. So.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Mr. Gary Stewart.
I don't have anything to say.
Mr. Smith.
I don't have anything.
I also had an opportunity to attend the barbecue cook-off, and I agree with Mr. Stewart. It tends to get better and better each year. I too got the opportunity to meet a lot of new people that I had not met before, so that tells me that we had a lot of people in from out of town for it. I appreciate everybody that volunteered to put that event on, the participants, and most of all the people that came and attended. I thought it was a very well attended event and was very well conducted. So, being nothing else, we'll stand adjourned until next week.